For many older adults, weekends do not feel restful. They feel revealing.
It is not just the silence that hurts on a Saturday or Sunday. It is what that silence seems to say.
Because weekends used to mean something. They used to mean family, noise, movement, a reason to cook a little more, a reason to get dressed a little earlier, a reason to expect someone. And when that is no longer part of your life in the same way, the weekend can feel heavier than the rest of the week.
Not because you are weak, not because you are negative, but because weekends have a way of showing you what used to be there.
During the week, there are still small things to hold on to.
A doctor's appointment, a trip to the store, a television program, a few routines, a few errands, something to break up the day.
But weekends are different. They arrive with emotional meaning. For many people, weekends were once the time when the family gathered, when the house sounded fuller, when there was a meal to prepare, a call to expect, a visit that might happen, a role to step into. And now, when the weekend comes, and no one calls, no one stops by, and no one seems to need anything from you, the pain is not just about having an empty schedule. It is much deeper than that. It can feel like life is still happening somewhere else, and you are no longer part of it. But that is the part many older adults do not always say out loud. They do not just miss company. They miss being included. They miss being thought of. They miss being part of the plan. They miss the feeling that somewhere, someone is expecting them. And maybe the hardest part is this. You may not even want a big event. You may not need a house full of people. You may not be asking for much at all. Sometimes you just want one small sign that you still cross someone's mind. One phone call, one invitation, one message that says, "We were thinking of you." Because when that does not come, the mind can go to painful places. Maybe everybody is busy. Maybe they still love me. Maybe they just do not think of me anymore. That thought hurts in a very particular way. Not unloved, just no longer included. And for some people, weekends are harder for another reason. They bring back grief. If you have lost a spouse, weekends may still carry the shape of the life you shared. Maybe Saturdays used to mean breakfast together, a drive somewhere, working in the yard, watching a favorite program in the evening. Maybe Sunday meant church, a family dinner, a quiet routine that felt ordinary at the time, but now feels priceless. So when the weekend comes now, it is not only lonely, it is a repeated collision with memory. You are not just facing an empty day. You are facing the space where a life once lived.
That is why weekends can feel so heavy after loss. They do not simply remind you that someone is gone.
They remind you how they used to fit into the rhythm of your life. And then there is another layer that makes this even harder. Many older adults want connection, but do not want to feel like a burden. You may think about calling your son, your daughter, a grandchild, a friend. But then another voice steps in. They are probably busy. I do not want to interrupt. I do not want to sound needy. If they wanted to call, they would. So you stay quiet. And that silence becomes its own kind of pain. Because part of you is hoping someone reaches out, while another part of you is trying very hard not to ask for too much. That tension is exhausting. Wanting to feel close while also trying not to inconvenience anyone. Wanting to be remembered while pretending you do not mind being alone. That is not weakness. That is the quiet emotional strain many people carry in later life. So if weekends feel harder now, there is nothing wrong with you. You are not overreacting. You are not too sensitive. You are not failing at aging. Sometimes weekends hurt because they remind you of what used to be. They remind you that you once had a place in a certain rhythm, a role, a purpose, a seat at the table, a reason to be expected. And when that changes, it is natural to feel the loss of it. The hardest part of getting older is not always physical pain. Sometimes it is the silence. Sometimes it is the feeling that the world is still moving. Families are still gathering, conversations are still happening, but there is no clear place where you are being pulled into it. That feeling can break your heart without making a sound. Now, this does not mean you need to force yourself to be cheerful. And it does not mean the answer is simply to stay busy. Most people do not just need more activity. They need more meaning, more connection, more moments that remind them they still matter in someone else's life. So instead of asking, how do I fill the weekend? A gentler question might be, how do I make the weekend feel a little less empty? Sometimes that begins very small. It may mean giving one part of your weekend a shape. Not a packed schedule, not pressure, just one steady point. A Saturday morning walk, a phone call with one trusted person, a favorite meal prepared with care, a church service, a visit to a familiar place, a standing habit that gives the day a little structure and a little dignity. Not because structure replaces love, but because it can soften the edges of loneliness. And sometimes, if your heart is waiting for someone to reach out, it helps to remember this. Reaching out first is not always begging for attention. Sometimes it is simply opening a door, a short message, a simple call, a warm note that does not apologize for existing. Not sorry to bother you, but just wanted to hear your voice. Or I was thinking of you today. There is quiet strength in that. And even when other people are distracted, busy, or wrapped up in their own routines, that does not erase your worth. Someone else's inattention is not proof that you no longer matter. If weekends feel especially hard for you, especially Sunday afternoons or Sunday evenings, you are not alone in that. In fact, many people carry that exact same heaviness and never say it out loud. They sit in a quiet living room. They hear the television, but do not really watch it. They glance at the phone without meaning to. They feel the daylight fading, and something inside them sinks a little. So let this be said clearly. Missing connection does not make you needy. It makes you human. Missing the old weekends does not mean you are stuck in the past. It means those days mattered to you. And feeling the ache of being left out does not mean you are forgotten forever. It means your heart still remembers what belonging felt like. That is not something to be ashamed of. That is something to honor. Because the truth is, your life still holds value. Your presence still matters. Your voice still matters. Your love still matters.
Even if the house is quieter now, even if the phone rings less often, even if the weekend does not look the way it used to, you are still a person worthy of being thought of, spoken to, included, and cherished. If weekends have felt heavier for you lately, I hope this reminded you of one thing. There is nothing wrong with you for feeling it. And if this spoke to your heart, you can share it in the comments, even just a few words. You might say, Sunday is the hardest for me, or I thought it was just me. And if you know someone else who may be carrying this kind of quiet loneliness, send this video to them. Sometimes the kindest thing we can do is help someone feel a little less invisible. And if you would like more conversations like this one, gentle, honest, and made for the realities of later life, stay with us for the next video. You still matter more than you know.